The new Colossus.
Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame,
With conquering limbs astride from land to land.
here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand,
A mighty woman with a torch, whose flame,
is the imprisoned lightning, and her name
Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand,
glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command,
the air-bridged harbour that twin cities frame.
keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she,
With silent lips, give me your tired, your poor,
your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free.
the wretched refuse of your teeming shore.
Send these, the homeless tempest-tossed, to me.
I lift my lamp beside the golden door. My first trip to the United States was back in 91, maybe, I think.
So
Something
just
like that.
before we met, a couple of years
Before we met, yeah. And I went to stay with someone I knew from the church who was working for the United Nations. And one of the many memories of that trip was going to Liberty Island and Ellis Island. Have you ever been?
No, I've never been.
So Ellis Island is the one that has the kind of building where folks used to, I think where they used to land,
Arrive.
and all of they would check the papers, and so there's kind of famous images of folks going down the kind of stairs after being processed into wherever they were going to be headed. And then at the Statue of Liberty on Liberty Island, all around the statue, there are names. So there are big, I don't know if it's granite or marble, whatever, stonework all the way around it, and it's just full of names. So I remember going around it and looking for, see if there were Johnstons that were there as part of it, and it was just.
And they're names of immigrants, I
Yes,
assume.
it's all folks that had been processed through
right.
Ellis Island, I think. So I remember that having quite a profound effect on me, being there and just thinking about how many people had come into the United States over the years, and that image of seeing this icon, the Statue of Liberty there, and the dreams of a new hope.
Yeah, looking for a better life, and something new and better and more hopeful for their children and their families, and
And I think that's always been sort of the back of my mind of America as having like a place of dreams, in a sense of it's a place where folks would come with hope and expectation.
And America's always prided itself on being a place where anything's possible, where anyone, can become president, kind of thing. And ain't that the truth?
That's for sure.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I mean, that's always, but when I was growing up, that's what something that Americans were proud of.
Yeah.
That we were somewhere that was aspirational for folk, and people felt like if you made it to America, you could do anything you wanted. And
so that clearly, I mean, that was the sort of vision that lots of people have had of America, but it is not the only vision of the States or understanding of what the United States is. And
no, because there's always been pushback against immigrants, and whenever different groups of immigrants have come in, they've variously been targeted by elements of, famously the Irish were targeted, and the Italians and the Chinese. I mean, there was legislation passed, I think, way back when to try to keep Chinese immigrants out. And
think about the Japanese during the
the
Second
internment
World War,
camps.
of course. So it's a mixed story in reality, but I guess at the moment we're seeing the sort of competing visions. One in particular starting to dominate the kind of narrative within
government.
Media and government, at the expense of other narratives.
Have a narrative like the poem we just read.
Yeah. So yes, for those who don't know, that's the poem there is one that is associated with the Statue of Liberty, and it's on I think on the plinth, or it's there, and by Emma Lazarus, the poet who wrote it, really famous words.
Yes.
About bring to me
your huddled masses, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. Yes, I mean, even if you don't know the rest of the poem, you know those words.
Yeah, indeed. So last week we were doing a kind of reaction to James Talarico.
That's quite a hopeful.
Voices of Hope.
Yeah.
We had labelled that one.
And I was... who else was speaking about James Talarico this week was, I think, Barack Obama on so I felt like, oh, wow, we're
ahead of the game.
We're ahead of the game. But really. Speaking
of somebody whose whole message was about hope when he was running for the first term.
Yes, and whose whole message was about, he kind of broke onto the scene, Obama, by talking about there's not a red America, not a blue America, there's the United States of America, which is the opposite of what we've got at the moment, right? The kind of vision of a united nation that is working together despite our differences, working through our, right? And that's just not where we are at the moment, is it?
It doesn't feel that way. And so we were thinking we maybe look at an example of somebody. And obviously we've spoken quite a lot about Donald Trump and our first kind of 11 or so episodes of this, as we've dipped in and out of different topics. But instead of talking about Donald Trump, because in some ways he's like the sort of cartoonish figure at the top, right? But it's the folks that are maybe somewhat behind the scenes, yes, but not hiding it. What they're doing. So we thought we'd maybe look at one of these characters, and that is Stephen Miller. So a little bit of background on Stephen Miller. He grew up, he went to high school in a really liberal school in Southern California. And there are clips of him kind of from that time. And one of them, I think he's like running for
a student council
position. He's like for
position.
A student council position, something like that, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And in his speech, you can tell it's kind of for comedic value, what he is doing. But in it, he goes on a tirade about being sick and tired of being told to pick up trash because janitors are paid to pick up trash.
And I'm sorry, that is just not a very nice way to joke. I mean, we just were at Dara O'Brien on Friday, who is a Irish comedian. And one of the things we were commenting on afterwards was that he was so funny and he never punched at anyone but himself, right? Like he kind of did some self-deprecating humor and whatever, but there were no groups in society that he was punching at, and it was just really lovely, so humorous without targeting anyone. Which that isn't. If that was for comedic effect, you're
indeed. So and you do. I mean, obviously, people would have been laughing along. Some people would have been laughing along with
probably.
him. And in fact, I've got another clip here of him. This is from 2003. With a bunch of other students. So just 2003, we're in the war against terror, I guess, wasn't it
Yeah,
called at that time?
with Bush. So right after 9/11, a couple of years after 9/11.
Yeah, so we were fully into the Iraq War, and stories were coming out about the atrocities that were going on in Abu Ghraib and things like that, where not the military, because the military refused, but it was the CIA, I think, wasn't it, taking the lead in torture. And so we're creating these sort of torture camps, basically. So here is Stephen Miller.
The Iraqi civilians. I think that as many of them should survive as possible, because the goal of any military conflict is to kill as few people as possible. But as for Saddam Hussein and his henchmen, I think the ideal solution would be to cut off their fingers. I don't think it's necessary to kill them entirely. We're not a barbaric people. We respect life. Therefore, torture is the way to go. Because torture people can live. Torture is a celebration of life and human dignity. We need to remember that as we enter these very dark and dangerous times in the next century. And I only hope that many of my peers and people who will be leading this country will appreciate the value and respect that torture shows towards other cultures.
Okay. What is clear about him is that he has always been a troll, right? He's always
trying to
lived
wind people up, isn't he?
To stir people up and get a reaction from folks. And you hear there others laughing on the bus at what he has to say. It's all a joke, right? And I guess it would all be a joke until the point when he has power. And actually, these things that he joked about, he can put into practice.
Seems to have a lot of power at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah. So at the moment, he is he's a deputy chief of staff, isn't he? And he's the national security advisor to the United States. I mean, these are huge roles. So. Giving guidance, and he was in the first, as part of the first administration of Donald Trump. He was his speechwriter for 4 years, I think 2017 to 2021, and he was one of the advocates for, you remember, all the family separation stuff that was going on, separating children away from parents.
And it's worth saying that then they lost these children, and
we
when the
still don't know
Biden
where they are.
administration tried to kind of reunite families, they couldn't find talk about child trafficking. I mean, supposedly the Republicans are against child trafficking, but I mean, we don't even know what happened to these children. So that's pretty horrendous.
Pro-life, huh? Worth saying, isn't it, that the new Pope has come out with statements about pro-life
and what that and what it should mean.
If you're going to use that label, then it can't just be about one issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a whole bigger picture of looking at our relationships with other people.
And just pointing out that, if you're pro-death penalty, you shouldn't really be calling yourself pro-life, because that's not a pro-life position. And he also mentioned, we need to have a conversation about how we treat immigrants, and if we're advocating treating immigrants poorly, then how is that? That should feed into our definition of what being pro-life means. I mean, there are plenty of other issues as well, but I was glad to see that.
There's a whole book that has been written, Jean Guerrero, about Stephen Miller. It's one of the key characters in it, called Hate Monger. And that seems to be a good title to describe what his outlook on life is, his outlook on the world.
What he's selling.
Yeah. It's a book that's about white supremacy, white nationalism as well. Worth a wee read. Stephen Miller, spoke at the... It was supposed to be a memorial kind of worship service for after the death of Charlie Kirk, but ended up becoming a political rally. Bizarre kind of thing with conflicting views being given in it.
I've only seen clips. I couldn't bring myself to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, it's long. Not that I like you, I've only watched clips of it.
That would be a couple of hours you couldn't get back.
Yeah. What we are going to do today is watch what Stephen Miller said at that. So it's just 6 minutes or so long, his own speech there.
That's a lot of Stephen Miller.
It's a lot of Stephen Miller to cope with. And we'd both independently watched another retired pastor, Pat Kanke, something like that. And he also was talking about this speech and very helpfully kind of describing the difference in those who see America as an idea, as I guess what we were talking about initially, and those who see America as a place, a destination. And in what Stephen Miller says, it is a place that is there in order for white European settlers to take control of it. So everything is within that kind of context.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth saying, Pat Conkey, I think it's kind of faith, culture, and politics is his podcast. And he is a retired, he was a conservative evangelical pastor, and he was retiring about the time that Trump was running for office. And he's always spoken out against Trump. And he has a lot of really interesting people on his podcast, and a lot of really interesting things to say. He's worth a listen.
We'll put a link into the description, and maybe relatively early on in the video, our own housekeeping.
Like and subscribe, right?
Yeah,
isn't that you're supposed to say that?
That is what you're supposed to say. I believe it helps the algorithm.
Yeah,
and the algorithm is everything in the current world. It's worth saying that in that book of Jean Guerrero, when she's talking about Stephen Miller, that there are all kinds of stories about how he treated other people when he was a student, and in particular Latino folks.
Oh, I bet it's not good.
It's not good at all, and really like harassment, especially of female Latinas on campus. There are stories of that. So
I guess that's not surprising.
No,
given what he's doing now.
Yeah, given who he is, that what we see overtly. So let's have a listen. Well, the other thing, Pat Kanke, he just pulls out it's Jason Stanley, isn't it? His book on how fascism works, of which the kind of subtitle is that it is about them
and us.
And us.
Yeah.
So it's all about defining them and us. So when you listen to what Stephen Miller is doing, that is what it is.
Yeah,
and
about. Pat Conkey kind of points out that it is a fascist appeal to people of faith. It is particularly
exactly. That's
appealing to people of faith.
Yes, he makes the point that this is a really good example of how fascism appeals to people of faith.
Yeah.
So not just to everyone.
And just from my own background, it's an easy appeal because my whole understanding of faith within the conservative evangelical world that I grew up in was a them and us understanding. Mm-hmm. We were God's people and the world was other. And that is, and we needed to stay separate from the world because they would tempt us, and we did need to reach out to them, but it was only to convert them, and if you couldn't convert them, then you needed to stay separate, and so there's a built-in appeal to, I think, because you're used to this kind of language. If you come
Sheep
from that
and goats,
kind of background,
there is language about this kind of dividing up between which you can interpret in ways to support kind of them and us. Mm-hmm. I do not believe that is what Jesus was actually talking about as far as communities go, but there we are. Mm-hmm. Let's have Let's have a go.
Maybe
this.
won't make the whole 6 minutes.
We'll see how we go. And again, just give me a shout if you want to stop at any point as we go through this.
Please welcome to the stage Stephen Miller.
Hello, Turning Point. Hello, Patriots. Hello to our fearless president, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
Which are embarrassing.
And it just reveals the cult-like nature of the whole thing.
Oh,
what's going on?
Cult-like? I mean, I think it is a cult.
It is a cult.
It is a cult of personality, isn't it?
Yeah.
You were being kind.
I was being too kind. Oh.
And hello to millions of Americans all across this land who are gathered in sadness and sorrow to mourn Charlie Kirk, but also to dedicate ourselves to finishing his mission and achieving victory in his name.
Achieving victory in his name.
Yeah, we're already setting everything up as a conflict, right? We aren't.
It's a war. I mean, victory is the language
so we
of
aren't
war.
like Barack Obama, where there's no red America, there's no blue America. We're the United States of America. We are red America. And I mean, blue America is the enemy. We need victory over them. It's not, right? So it's, the imagery is already 2 seconds in.
Yeah. And is it me, or is there something of the shark about Stephen Miller?
I just always feel like his eyes look a bit dead.
Yeah, I've always felt that way, especially since when you look at some of the videos
Except for the
of him,
fact that you like sharks, so
I love the shape
streamlined
of a shark.
shape of them. Yeah,
their eyes are a little spooky though.
Yeah,
you know. To be fair, Stephen Miller is pretty streamlined. Yeah, but.
The day that Charlie died, the angels wept, but those tears have been turned into fire in our hearts. And that fire burns with a righteous fury that our enemies cannot comprehend or understand.
Yeah, I mean, just language of enemies. We're already there. I mean,
but also exactly what you were saying earlier about the invitation to those of faith. So the language of angels is being deployed, and that is language that will sit very easily with certain religious groups of folks that are used to using that language a lot. I find it deplorable. The switch between angels' tears to vengeful fire is remarkable, but that's where they're coming from. It's where he's coming from. One of the other things that Pat Kanke says in when he's talking about this passage is he reminds us that. Well, as I was saying earlier, Stephen Miller was Trump's speechwriter. So this speech, he hasn't just thrown this together. He has thought long and hard about what he's going to say in this speech. So every word he is using precisely because he wants to use those words. They're there for a reason, for a purpose.
When I see Erica and her strength and her courage, I am reminded of a famous expression. The storm whispers to the warrior that you cannot withstand my strength. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. Erica is the storm. We are the storm.
Now, it's worth remembering that in her own speech, she talked about forgiving of the person that had committed the murder of her husband.
She did, yeah.
And our enemies cannot comprehend our strength, our determination, our resolve, our passion. Our lineage and our legacy hails back to Athens, to Rome, to Philadelphia, to Monticello. Our ancestors built the cities. They produced the art and architecture. They built the industry. Erica stands on the shoulders of thousands of years of warriors, of women who raised up families, raised up city, raised up industry, raised up civilization, who pulled us out of the caves and the darkness into the light. The light will defeat the dark.
Ooh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
So
You've
Pat
got to do this in chunks, haven't you?
Yeah, and Pat Kenke points out that what he's doing here is he's drawing on clearly white nationalist examples.
The historical examples
yes.
are coming from Rome,
Greece,
yeah,
Philadelphia, Monticello, which is
home
Thomas
of Thomas
Jefferson's
Jefferson,
plantation, right?
slaves.
Right, but then he talks about our ancestors building the cities and when actually like America was built by enslaved people, and he's cutting them out. And so Pat Kenke is pointing out that it's a very kind of juvenile play where then, because these are so obviously white nationalist examples, and then when we point that out, the obviousness of it, we're the ones bringing race in,
Yeah.
So then there's this tiny bit there, plausible deniability, but I mean that's what this is.
Yeah, Trump does that all the time.
All the time. But so that is what this is.
I mean, the point is, for those who want to hear it, will hear exactly
the white
nationalism being loud and clear.
And those who don't want to hear the white nationalist
can
stuff can pretend it's not there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Monticello. I mean, Thomas Jefferson quite famously had numerous children with a slave that he started sleeping with when she was a very young teenager.
Yep.
And he kept her shut up in a room at Monticello. I mean, it's really horrendous stuff.
Yeah.
And he was quite well aware of the hypocrisy of what he wrote in the Declaration of Independence and what he was doing at Monticello, and he did it anyway. Yeah. I just, but then this is one of the people that he's holding up
as an exemplar. This is what the country was founded upon, this kind of behavior.
And to be fair, it was, but then he would probably be very upset if you spoke to him about that aspect of Jefferson's life, know, and I just think we're wanting to pretend that aspect is not what the nation was built on, and that aspect is what the nation was built on. We were built on.
There's an awful lot of rewriting going on in American museums at the moment, so you do wonder if that whole.
They don't want to talk about slavery,
and
they don't want
to be removed from any kind of historical at Monticello itself.
Well, they don't want to talk about the evils of slavery. I mean, I think I saw a picture, and it was a picture that was up somewhere. I'm not sure if it was somewhere at one of the Smithsonian Institutes, of a slave with scars on his back because of the lashes, and that makes white people feel badly about slavery. So we need to put that away. I mean, that's crazy to me. if you, I mean, it's this whole
Exactly
thing
what
that
you should
if you
be
deny
shown.
history, then you are much more likely to repeat it. You've got to acknowledge the bad bits so that you make sure they never happen again. I mean, that's the whole point of having Holocaust museums. And right, we look at the evil in its face, so we make sure it doesn't happen again. When you deny it, it's so scary.
But Stephen Miller wants it to happen again. I mean, that's part of the that's part of the drill here. So the again overtly religious language of light and the darkness.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's Isaiah kind of language that's coming out, that one of the prophets that's then picked up in the Gospels, and so it's all language but that many of us that are liturgists writing liturgy in church are very a little careful over language about light and darkness now, obviously because of the overtones it has, and in fact in the new hymn book that I was part of putting together, we have a couple of songs in there which are deliberately about positive attributes of darkness, to counter the massive weight of caricatured language around light and darkness. However, the caricature is strong in
With
Stephen
this one.
Miller. Yeah.
We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot imagine what they have awakened. They cannot conceive of the army that they have arisen in all of us.
And who is they?
Yeah, this is the them and us coming out.
One person who we've stopped hearing about him. We don't even know really what the motivations were, because that's all seems to have been shut down. Who is they? One person did a very bad thing.
Yep.
But they have awakened,
Well,
it's dangerous, this. Collective guilt is what he's trying to do. Collective guilt. I mean, it's crazy.
But it's obviously a very deliberate strategy in order to get to an end point of silencing those who have opposing voices.
Mobilizing people who are listening to him to be active in silencing voices who oppose, right?
And to turn a blind eye to
the government,
to the government deploying troops on the streets to silence voices, all that
absolutely.
kind of thing. So it's to say, maybe they've got a point, and they shouldn't have said, and
they're the ones who killed Charlie Kirk. I mean, it's just.
But it's carefully constructed, as we keep saying, what he's doing here. There's a purpose to it.
And it is fascistic, right? I mean, this is exactly what the Nazis did with the Jews.
Yep.
Right? The Jews, them and us, the homosexuals, the disabled, the Romani, right? They're the
and political
opponents, absolutely,
journalists,
because that was they were intent on creating a one-party state, which they did. That was the goal. No dissent.
Interesting you say that.
Because we stand for what is good, what is virtuous, what is noble. And to those trying to incite violence against us, those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing. You are nothing. You are wickedness, you are jealousy, you are envy, you are hatred. You are nothing. You can build nothing. You can produce nothing. You can create nothing.
So that's Orwellian.
That is proper.
I mean, those who try to incite violence against us are nothing, are evil, are right. So what are you doing but inciting violence against people who disagree with you? Yep. And overwhelmingly, prominent Democrats were coming out and completely condemning what happened to Charlie Kirk, which you didn't see in the wake of the assassinations in
of the
Democratic Congress people in Michigan. And was it Michigan? I mean, I just that is completely Orwellian.
Yeah, it is.
He's completely inciting violence and
while
pretending
saying
that other people
that the other folks are doing
Yeah,
it.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is an absolute switcheroo of reality.
And how do people not see how do you listen to that and not understand not see? It's blatant.
Yeah, well, this is where it comes in part of the I guess the media bubble that you're living in is you're just so disconnected from reality, from hearing what is really going on, that this all makes sense. I mean, they are very consistent with all of this. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the narrative that they're creating for the country.
Yeah.
And that is, this is feeding exactly into that. So, but yeah, the hypocrisy is just
off the
mind-blowing.
We are the ones who build. We are the ones who create. We are the ones who lift up humanity. You thought you could kill Charlie Kirk? You have made him immortal. You have immortalized Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, well,
we're the ones that build. We're the ones that create. We're the ones that lift up humanity. I mean, famously, it's the red states that take from the blue states.
Financially, in that they are supported
absolutely
because the blue states tend to be the most productive states.
Yeah, and and
part of that is the legacy of slavery, right? Because the red states held on to slavery for so long.
Yeah, they didn't have the manufacturing base.
They didn't have the kind of, the Industrial Revolution didn't happen in the same way that it happened in the other states that prompted advances in production.
But it is as well, like you think about, we're the ones who, the Democrats are currently refusing to, are saying, if you want our votes to reopen the government, we want you to, continue these Medicare subsidies so that people can afford their health care, right? And we're the ones who are saying, well, you shouldn't be separating people at the borders. You shouldn't be I shouldn't be going in and terrorizing communities. We should be. You're right. Well, you shouldn't be decimating the Department of Education and special education, for children who have additional support needs. It just blows my mind that he can say that with a straight face, and that people hear it with a straight face, and that they see themselves as fight. The only way I can make sense of the fact that they see themselves as fighting for what's good is if you are dehumanizing all of these other groups. It's only your group, because you are,
I think that is where Stephen Miller's coming from.
But are all of his listeners really? Is that where they are?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Is that where they are, that they can?
I would hope not, but they may be at all different stages along the way, and hearing this kind of rhetoric is all that drip drip that moves people further and further along that path, or to allow the government to work its way along that path. Yeah, you see it, don't you, in the legislation of that. The administration has hardly been able to pass anything apart from this big, beautiful bill, which just funnels money to the wealthy
and strips away the supports that people desperately need, because things are hard for lots of people in the States and around the world, right?
Or it's cronyism. It's all been how to fund, just channel money to the friends, and that's why you've got all of these the tech oligarchs all now bending the knee because they are wanting to suck from the teat of
it seems crazy to me. They have so much money. How can you even need more? But that's what this whole bailout for Argentina is, which is now double, right? Instead of 20 billion, I think it's up to 40 billion. And basically, I think it's going to go to the wealthy investors, it's just another way to give money to people who already have everything. As well as a way to manipulate the politics of another country, because I think he's saying, if you don't vote for who I want you to vote for, I'm not going to give you the money. Exactly. To be fair, America has done that for years, but it seems, it's just blatant now.
It is super overt now. We're more than halfway.
And now millions will carry on his legacy. And we will devote the rest of our lives to finishing the causes for which Charlie gave his last measure of devotion. You cannot defeat us, you cannot slow us, you cannot stop us, you cannot deter us. We will carry Charlie and Erica in our heart every single day and fight that much harder because of what you did to us. You have no idea the dragon you have awakened. You have no idea how determined we will be to save this civilization, to save the West, to save this republic.
Yeah, there you go.
He doesn't put them together, but Western civilization is certainly code for white supremacy.
White supremacy. Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, it's
and what you did to us, right? Like, so one person who clearly was very wrong killed another person, and we don't know why, because that seems to have gone quiet.
Let's be honest, this happens in the United States
all the time.
All the time.
But you did to us. It's crazy. And it's quite clearly intended to, if not incite violence against people, then, as you said, to allow Republicans to feel comfortable and happy about governmental violence against people who disagree with the government, which is that is going down the fascism route, right? Like that famously, in democracies, you are allowed to protest against your government. If you are not allowed to protest against your government, then you are losing your democracy, right?
Yeah, that is the First Amendment that we were talking about a few weeks ago. It's in there.
And they certainly are they're scared of this No Kings protest that is happening tomorrow. And
as we record this,
yes, it's happening tomorrow.
The day that this comes out.
Yes, and they're trying to paint everyone who turns out as terrorists, right? And as paid by George Soros. And it's just crazy.
It is crazy, but it is exactly trying. There's multiple layers to that, aren't there? It's either it's trying to lay the groundwork for actually going after folks, sending the Department of Justice after people, because you're saying that this is now acts of terrorism, to go out and object to the government.
Or to call yourself anti-fascist.
Or even to call yourself anti-fascist.
Means that you're a terrorist. That's, goodness me. They're just...
Yeah. Or it's just about that general silencing of things. And, of course, it's all part of that, just making everyone more compliant for
obeying in advance.
Yeah.
Right.
To give up in advance. Yeah.
Because our children are strong, and our grandchildren will be strong, and our children's children's children will be strong. And what will you leave behind? Nothing. Nothing. To our enemies, you have nothing to give, you have nothing to offer, you have nothing to share, but bitterness. We have beauty, we have light, we have goodness, we have determination, we have vision, we have strength. We built the world that we inhabit now, generation by generation, and we will defend this world. We will defend goodness, we will defend light, we will defend virtue. You cannot terrify us, you cannot frighten us, you cannot threaten us, because we are on the side of goodness, we are on the side of God. And to my friend Charlie, to my brother Charlie.
Well, before we get to the last moments of his speech there, when he's talking about the them here, it's everyone who isn't MAGA.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. It's not just a small group of radicals on another side of kind of political debate, or those who are part of another nation that's got radically different ideas that you might have. Here in the UK, we've got right fankle going on over Chinese spies and whether China is an enemy state or whatever, or a threat to the UK and all that kind of thing. And this is not that. This is just folks who have a different political opinion to you are being classified as
nothing.
Nothing. Enemies
And
to be trodden upon.
Yeah, and you offer
up,
nothing. You will.
It is nihilistic kind of vision of the United States.
And it really, because he's basically saying, we built everything, you built nothing. So how do you see this apart from the white nationalism, which is the foundation of it, right? The only thing that's worth anything is what white people have built and what Western civilization, which is code for white people, have built. And everyone,
it's so
it's awful.
So obvious,
and it's so awful, and it's just so awful.
And this is a reminder. This is the guy who is the primary national security advisor to the United States.
And you just think, and again, coming back to our title is what kind of world and how do you? And so I think that and I don't have the answer, but what is a kind response to this? And this is where kindness becomes really tricky, right? Because, we're reacting very negatively to him, and to people who, right, and to that ideology. How would you be kind to someone who is agreeing with him, who watched this and thought that he was right on, but then how do you approach someone who agrees with him with kindness while also being kind to the minority groups and the people that he is clearly calling nothing and dehumanizing? And so, I guess this is where you get this paradox of tolerance.
That's exactly the phrase that was going through my mind, that we probably need to spend another session on, because that's complex.
It is. It's very complex. But again, I feel like if we do the same thing, just say to people who are MAGA, you have nothing to offer that's good. And I know that there's a temptation to do that because you get so angry. Then are we falling into the same trap? And then it becomes impossible for you to, because he's wanting to make it so it's impossible for us to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And if we allow that to happen,
then
we lose.
Yeah, so
right?
that's why this is why we're holding this intention with what we were looking at last week with James Talarico, what he was saying. But the reason this kind of gives the counter to what James Talarico was saying. So in the kind of the sort of outlook that you have on your fellow humanity.
Yes, and I think what was really interesting about how James Talarico was framing this is he was not framing it as them and us. He talked about Christian nationalism as an ideology.
Yeah,
he wasn't talking about Christian nationalists, right? So much. He was really focusing on that way of thinking and saying, we need to call out that way of thinking. We need to offer an alternative way of thinking. Whereas this is blatantly, you are evil, we are good. And he doesn't even define. So, James Talarico spent a lot of time defining, what Christian nationalism as an ideology was and what following Jesus of Nazareth, the alternative, and what that looks like. Whereas you're not getting any examples of anything. It's just the kind of white nationalist buzzwords.
But that's intentional, isn't it? Because they don't. That's always the way this goes. It's what we were talking about earlier, but it's the generalizations that allow people to read into it what they want.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's all about permission giving and nudging folks along certain paths. This is the great challenge of, and it's why fascism often gets into power, because those who are trying to kind of hold this balance of trying to be nice and kind to folks, even those who've got these different views, and that can be taken advantage of course.
It can. Oh, yeah, definitely. And I, as I said, I don't have any answers to this, but I just think it's worth talking about.
Indeed.
And then how do we?
I think we should probably leave that for because that. I mean,
it's such a big topic.
That paradox of
huge.
tolerance
It's
is difficult, very difficult. We
need to.
We've got to finish this now,
or we can just call it quits.
No, we're going to fight on
through. Okay.
I know you are looking at us right now. I know you're watching Erica right now. I know you're watching your children right now. And I promise you, my friend, I promise you, my brother, we will prove worthy of your sacrifice. We will prove worthy of your time on earth. We will make you proud. We will finish the job. We will defeat the forces of darkness and evil. And we will stand every day for what is true, what is beautiful, what is good. And we will achieve victory for our children, for our families, for our civilization, and for every patriot who stands with us. God bless you. God bless Turning Point. God bless Erica. God bless the Kirk family. God bless our heroes. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Oh, well, there you go. That was his speech.
I just feel like the Jesus in the book that I talked about the second coming would just react to that saying, you just have no idea how mad you make God when you invoke his name at the end of something like that.
Something like that. Something that is so filled with hate
and unkindness
and division.
And it certainly isn't nice at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was 6 minutes or whatever, 6.5 minutes long. I mean, then Trump gets up and speaks for whatever, 50 minutes or something,
really? God.
And all over the case, all over the place, I should say, in what he's doing. So, I mean, this is helpful because it is succinct. He's done his work and what he wants to say. So having it there, you
can kind of see where
things are going.
Where the administration is.
Yeah, and this is along with some of the other Ross Vogt, some of the folks that are working away.
Deserves a podcast.
Yeah,
because he's a scary man.
I mean, they're working away in the background, actually making things happen. So they're doing stuff. They're actually putting stuff in place, and pushing for the use of military and all this stuff.
And they've cleared out everyone who was in the first Trump administration, who clearly was doing a lot of who they clearly were doing a lot of holding things back, and all of those people are gone.
I remember in the first administration getting so frustrated and thinking about some of the folks there that you knew must know better, and of course subsequently many of them have come out and said just how terrible it was and all that they were trying to do to hold Trump back. And I mean, there are some folks saying that there is some of that still going on, and that's why they're giving him all of these like building projects to look at. So the building of the ballroom next to the White House. You know, he's going on about building an Arc de Triomphe or an Arc de Trump.
Saw that.
It's these things that will take his attention away while they can get on with actually doing all of the other stuff going on. I mean, also there's almost no one there that is sensible any longer. No, I mean, even those who are the supposedly the Marco Rubios,
they've completely bent the knee, haven't they?
Sold their souls to what's going on here. I won't show it, but one of the things that happened after Charlie Kirk's death, I mean, he had his own show, and I mean, this blows my mind, but the Vice President of the United States became the host of that show and had a whole 2.5 hour long show when he was hosting it and had on it all these different folks from the White House. And Stephen Miller was one of the guests that he had on.
Feels like they should have other things to do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's astonishing.
You think maybe we'd be in a better position if Trump was only, they were all just off playing golf and they weren't really doing anything.
Yeah, but that's where the likes of Stephen Miller come in. There are all these folks that they're not interested in golf. They want. Stephen Miller is. I don't know. I mean, Trump is like stuck in the 1980s in his whole mindset of the way the world works and all that sort of thing. I mean, Miller is a true believer in this sort of stuff, what he's talking about here, no doubt about it. But he was he was asked by J.D. Vance that what are we doing about to bring justice after the death of Charlie Kirk, and he described those. So anyone who is like an opponent to what Charlie Kirk was saying, and as a reminder, as we've said previously, a lot of what he said
racist
was
stuff.
Yeah, really not
homophobic, xenophobic.
Yeah,
misogynistic.
Yeah, hit all the marks really, and he talked about dismantling any group or organization that is involved in marches or advocacy for minority groups. I mean, it'll be going down to that level. He describes them as a vast domestic terror movement, and that they will deploy all the resources they have to stop it. So, and that's the vice president and the head of the National Security Advisor for the United States talking about this.
Scary.
It is, yeah. So that I mean, that's why talking about this and the use of words like fascism, it is no longer just a kind of joke or anything. It's no longer just fanciful that, you shouldn't be using these words, because that speech was a fascist speech.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Well, maybe
Cheery.
next week we'll try to think about how do we deal across the kind of divides here, and that kind of, what does tolerance look like? And
What does kindness look like?
What does kindness look like? And what does it look like when a society is spiraling down the drain hole of fascism? There you go. And then we'll sort that one out.
Yeah, okay. It's all a bit sad.
Yeah, but there's got to be hope. We've got to find a way, right? And the way is always going to be through people, working their way through this, and finding something positive as the counter narrative,
and somehow finding a way to be kind, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I just think
to show
how much better
people.
would our world be if everyone was being guided by how can we be kind, right? Which is why I think thinking about the paradox of tolerance, and because I just think that we do still need to grapple with how are we kind to people who disagree with us, and how do we try to keep.
I think, and probably part of that is
somehow.
It's what you were saying about you're finding it difficult comprehending how people are kind of accepting what the likes of Stephen Miller is saying, and that is there's a line between when you're talking to folks that have a kind of openness, but they are being led down this path because that's all that they're hearing, and somebody like Stephen Miller who is a troll. Well, his whole life has been set up to try and stir up division, and it's sad that somebody ends up in that place.
You wonder how that happens.
Yeah. But, okay. Well, that's Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Stephen Miller before,
now you have.
You have now. You're welcome.
All right, from my bed, I was just going to think a little bit about how good it is to keep in touch with old friends, talking about being kind to people. I'm in the process of, I had my last day at the job I've been at the school I've been at for 7 years, and we're in the October holidays right now. And then when we go back, I'll be starting a new job, which I'm really excited about. But because on the last day, you were kind of chatting with some friends about, we want to really make sure that we stay in touch because it's so easy not to, and kind of going to put together a WhatsApp group, and so we can make sure that we're going to get in touch kind of on a semi-regular basis, meet up for coffee and that kind of thing. Which then set me off thinking, oh yeah, there are other people I want to keep in touch with. So I kind of had a friend from my previous school was over yesterday, which was lovely to catch up with her. And last weekend had a kind of Zoom call with a couple of friends from university, which was lovely as well. And, you know, and my aunt and uncle are in touch, and they're going to come over, and I haven't seen them
for a long time.
For a long time, at New Year's, and I guess that's one of the things that people are saying in the States. You know, one of the ways that that when you are confronting a government that's doing what the Trump government is doing, that it's really important to stay in community and to stay in contact with friends and family, and to create, you know, real community. Now, obviously, my friends in the States, it was Zoom that we were communicating over, but like meeting together with people, and it just is good for the soul, you know, keeping in touch with friends and family. So I've enjoyed that, you know, the people that that I've kind of have seen recently that I haven't, you know, been a little while since I've seen them. And so it's an important thing to do.
And it's finding the time, isn't it, to do that. I just, this week I saw an old friend, but we were in a meeting, and really afterwards I needed because I had to get back up here, and it was a 2.5 hour journey to get, well, more than that actually by the time you get out of the city. So we didn't have a chance to get a kind really of catch up. So you, it's that being deliberate, isn't it, about time for the so you might be seeing folks, but in a kind of different settings, and so it's finding the time to actually develop the relationship rather than just the kind of the working side of things is good.
Anyway, it is important. So as I move to my new job, I do want to make sure that I stay in touch with people from. I mean, I was there for 7 years. You know that you don't want to just walk away and then not stay in touch. But you do have to be quite deliberate about it. And life gets busy, and so you maybe aren't as in touch as you'd like to be. But just a reminder that community is important.
We're very lucky in some of the friends that we have that they are, in a sense, sort of low maintenance friends, in that whenever you do catch up with them,
it's never been apart.
Yeah, exactly. It might have been 2 or 3 years since you've seen them, but you're immediately just straight into all the blether and all, and it's just you kind of just start off where you kind of left off and on you go again. So it's nice though, because there's a kind of it's never a chore to then go.
You just enjoy spending time with them, and it's never difficult. It's always easy. You always have lots to talk about.
Friendship in the current climate is super important. It's always important, but even more so now. Good. For my part, what I was going to talk about was I've been. Partly because of everything that's been going on, just like I need to find something that takes me away from a screen. A
hobby.
And so I have been trying to read more, and rather than going down the social media kind of rabbit hole.
Scrolling. That's one thing that'll be, I think, good about my new job is I have a longer commute which means that I can't doom scroll in the morning. Like, you know, so sometimes it's hard to get out of bed in the morning. So I spend maybe 20, 25 minutes doom scrolling. So that's going to have to go.
Not good.
And so that's actually quite good, probably.
That's a bonus. But then, of course, you'll be listening to some political podcast on the way in,
maybe
probably.
need to do Audible more.
Yes, so you go through a book instead. Well, I've just been trying to do that, is read more. So it's a little bit more distanced from the day in, day out of things, but it's also more in depth and more nuanced what you're reading. But I've also I play guitar a lot, but it's mostly for
the church.
It's playing for something, then whatever, just the sort of playing for fun, and learn a few songs and things, like not like guitar lines, you know, for kind of lead guitar stuff that I used to do a lot of in the past. And so I went to get my guitar stuff sorted. And then, so the guitar amp I have at the moment, I think I bought about 15 years ago or something like that. And it was quite advanced at the time.
Oh, dear.
And there is the curse. Yeah. In that, now there is no, when I went to go and, to get everything hooked up.
Are you going to tell me you need to buy a new amp?
That's exactly where this is going.
I know. Oh, no.
So
there's always something that needs to be purchased with you.
Indeed, this is it. But it's the curse of modern life because it relies on an app to do a lot of the functionality of it, and the app no longer exists. You can't download it. So I have it on my phone, like it's there as the icon, but when you actually go to download it won't. It's no longer available in the Play Store because I had it previously installed. So this is a complete pain in the neck, and it just, so if you bought a guitar amp in the 1960s, it would still work perfectly today. So you might have had to have serviced it and done some bits, changed some bits and bobs to it, but it would still work fine. Whereas there is this inbuilt obsolescence in many of the things that we buy today, even though they may have way more features, but it's crazy that we're stuck there. So you
can't use this amp at
I can use it, but I am limited to only the kind of preset things that I had set up previously. I can't go into the kind of guts of it to change all the kind of sounds that are part of it. It is a pain in the neck. So
is that what you want for your birthday?
So
a new amp?
I have already told the children about this as an issue that I have going on at the moment, and had suggested they might want to get a sort of pedal that a new amp might need.
Right,
you know?
Right.
So that's part of my cunning ploy here to work towards a new amp
system.
But what do you go for? You see.
That's not going to be obsolete in 5 years' time because the app no longer works. Well, I'd like you to find something so we're not buying
that's why
amps all the time.
That's why I have been looking at things where you can just operate it solely from the amp itself,
makes sense.
rather than being reliant on. But of course, that's the modern.
It limits you.
Well, no. You can get the ones that do it, but it's just Anyway.
But it's good to have a hobby.
It is good to have a hobby.
Not related to politics.
It's not related to politics. It would be even better to have a hobby that was cheap.
That would be even better, but then that wouldn't be you, would it?
It wouldn't be nearly as fun. That's right.
You're a nightmare.
Collecting twigs, that would be
a nightmare.
The dogs do that, mind you. We already have
lots of twigs that you're picking up from the carpet all the time.
So there we go. Such is life.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, so you tell me on the podcast that we're going to spend a lot of money on an amp.
Maybe I haven't quite got there yet, but Yeah. No, I know it's more my frustrations with modern life. Mm-hmm. My rather decrepit old amp that I had from which Andrew was using, it needs a full service mind, but it would still work. But it doesn't have any of the same features that a modern amp has. This is the problem.
Your dilemma.
I know, exactly.
Okay.
Modern living dilemmas. Enough for this week?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Now maybe next week we can say a bit about something we were doing this weekend. Okay.
All right. Tune in next week.
Indeed. Bye.
Bye.